Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am to show you today's quilt. Let's take a look at this quilt. This is the pineapple block. This is also something I never thought I would do. I have a habit of collecting old antique blocks like this one when I'm out and about and thinking, oh, maybe someday I'll see if I can make a quilt like this. And so these are the two old pineapple blocks I got. And do you see this one, how it's like all wonky stretched like this, you know? This poor gal, it's just a mess. You will not have this problem when I show you how to do this. It is going to lay flat and perfect and be the most awesome pineapple block you have ever made. I just am so excited about this. Oh my gosh. So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is one of these pineapple trim tool rulers. It's got the non-sticks. It's by Creative Grids. And I seriously, every time I trimmed it, I thought, oh, that just looks perfect. You know, I'm not a perfect sewer, and I just loved this. You're also going to need one set of background skinny strips and one of the colored skinny strips, and this is the classic palette by Kona. And we also have, I don't know if you know this, but Kona has this new pack. It's a 101 pack. This is the bright packs, and look at all those colors. One square of every color. Isn't that so fun? 101 squares. This is so cool. Anyway, I've just got to show you how to do this because I'm so in love with this. So for our center of our block, we're going to start with a 2.5 inch square, and we're going to take our little 2.5 inch ruler, and we're just going to cut that both directions so that we get two 2.5 inch squares here to start our center, just like this. So we just need one for our center, and we are going to border all four sides of that with a white strip. Now the way this goes is color white, color white, color white. And so what I do is I just lay this right along here, and I'm going to stitch this down, trim it off, stitch the other side as well. So let's start by this right here. And I really did just one block at a time. First, I wasn't sure I could do it. And second, I wanted my colors to be the same on all four sides. So what I did, and honestly, you're going to want to make sure that you have your little sewing area set up for you close. And so I have a little TV tray that I put an ironing mat on this side. And you're going to want these things close by you so that you can just sit at your sewing machine and press and cut and press and cut and press and cut, because you do that a lot in this quilt. All right, so we're going to add this strip to all four sides, and I'm just going to trim this off right here. Oh, there we go. And press. All right. Now you can see I'm not even being super careful about this. I'm just adding on my strips on all four sides. Because once you get the hang of this, this just flies. You can tell I'm a little excited, can't you? Well, this is one of those things that you never think you're going to be able to do. Look, not even a ruler. It doesn't have to be perfect because every round gets squared up. All right, one more time. And let's sew it on. Alrighty. Trim it off. And press it. Now I'm getting a workout walking back and forth, but when I made mine, I literally had my sewing machine, my cutting mat, and my pressing mat. So I'm like pressing, cutting, just like that. All right, now let me show you how you do this, because you do this to every single round. So I want you to take a look at this ruler, and you'll see right here, this says centering square round 8, centering square round 6, 4, 2. And this is one that has a white line about it. You got to pay attention to those. So your even blocks you put on a centering square. Your odd blocks for rounds 3, 5, and 7, you line up on this square. And I'll show you that. So right now, this white one is centering square for round 1. Round 1 is our centerpiece right here. We're going to lay that on there. We're going to match up that square just like this. And mine isn't, you can even see mine isn't perfectly square, but I'm just kind of centering it in there. And I'm going to trim these off. And we're going to turn this to all four sides. I know I'm just almost a little out of breath. I'm so excited to show you this because this is just the coolest thing. So 4 times you're going to trim this round 1, like this, just like that. All right, so every time you trim it up and it becomes perfect again. So now we're going to add our colors. So let's put a pink row in there. And I'm going to again put this on all 4 sides. So I'm going to sew, and I used a pair of scissors instead of a rotary cutter because I could literally just sit here and snip and cut and snip. Okay, right back over here. Barely even left my seat. All right, here we go. Now it's big enough that we can cut on either side and press 2 at a time. So we're going to press these open. And again, just watch your little 1/4 inch seam. And see, it doesn't matter if they're wonky. We're just going to lay this strip on here. We're going to sew it right down. I'm using my center squared square as the part I line up my strip on. So my edges don't have to be perfect. And as you grow this out, the edges don't even have to be sewn together. I mean, you just sew on the sides. Oops, let me just trim that off. And one more side. Lay it up along that center seam. And so I'm following that line. You just want to eyeball it till you get to the center. Oops, my thread just broke. Let me just thread this again. So now I got my machine threaded, and I even grabbed a pair of scissors while I was gone. And so we're going to sew these sides on. Now you'll notice I'm not even going up to the corner on this. We just need to make sure these sides are covered. And so I'm just going to lay this over here, and I'm going to sew down that way, pull it out, and now I'm just going to snip this off. And this is where your scissors come in really handy because you just stay there. So then we're going to press this back. Now this is really important to note. What's important on this is not that you sew all the way out here to the edge. What's important is that you cover the side, okay? You just need a 1/4 inch on that edge. So that's how I actually, our pattern calls for 2 of these rolls because they're cutting all the pieces beforehand, but I was so stingy. I just covered this part, and that's the part that matters. So now every time I cut, because you don't want to lose your place, I would count. You never count your center, never. So you count 1, 2. This is my second cut, so I'm going to look for my box 2 here, which is right here, and I'm going to center up that on my middle square. It always gets centered on that middle square, and then I'm going to trim off again. So trim on all 4 sides, just like this, with the round 2 square in the middle, and then turn it around. Find my round 2 square, put it on there, and then I can cut this one. I can cut both sides right here. Alrighty, just like that. And so it squares it up again. Now you add your white row just on the sides. And again, I'm just going to lay it just on these sides right here. So let me just show you real quick that. You don't have to pull it up to the corner because you can already see you're starting to have that gap there. So again, I want to show you this. And see how I've just sewn that? And I'm just going to trim this off right here and press that back. So it doesn't have to go to the edges. We just need to press this back. And I'm going to put this white on all 4 sides, and then I'll meet you back here for the trimming. All right. Now we're back here for the trimming, and it just looks terrible. But it squares up every time. And so now again, you want to count from not counting your center, you want to count your rings out. So 1, 2, 3. We're on 3. And all the odds, 3, 5, and 7, they get cut on this line. So what you do is on this white line right here, you're going to lay that on your color. See right here on your color? And you're just going to trim that off. And you're going to turn this, lay that trim line on, cut off that white right there. See this line here, right along your color. Just like that. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Now, when you add, your next round is going to be another color, and I like to add the same color all the way around. However, there is a block on this quilt. So here, I like to do this, and I'm just going to sew to this side, remember. We don't have to come over here to the corners. So just this side, 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 like that. Add the color. And then I'll meet you back here for the trimming so you can see the trimming one more time. All right, 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. All righty. Now we've got it all pressed back and we're ready to trim again. So we're going to count. Remember, never the middle center, just this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 is an even number, so we're going to look for round 4 on here. We're going to put our square right, center that up in the middle square. And then we're going to trim off these 2 sides here and here. And then we're going to turn this, center up round 4. And you can cut 2 sides again, here and here. And it's perfect again. It just keeps going and going and going. It's so amazing, and it always looks perfect. Now, when you get 8 rounds done, I want to show you this right here. Then you're ready for your corners. So see how I'm ready for my corners? And my corners are just these squares right here, cut in half. So we just took a 5-inch square right here, cut it in half like this. And you don't even have to have a perfect measurement. You just cut it in half. You're going to lay that on here and sew it down. And let me do one right here to show you. The other ones are sewn on, but this one is waiting for me to show you. So again, you can turn this over because you're just sewing on this 1/4 inch part right here. So we're going to go and sew down there. And now we're going to press these back. And I'm going to press all 4 of them here. And one more. And you want to make sure they're laying kind of nice because these are the squares that finish off your block. All right. Now, let me just move this stuff out of the way so you get a clear shot at what I'm doing here. Now, when you're to the very last round, and again, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is our 8th round. Our centering square for round 8, it's an even number. It's going to be a square. We put that in the middle, just like this. Center it up. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to come and we're going to cut this like this. And you can cut 3 sides on this. That one isn't, I don't cut too well going that way, and it's probably not a good idea. So now I'm just going to flip this around and again put my centering square in there. And we're just going to cut. Make sure we're lined up here, here and here, and across here like this. And that is your finished block. And it's amazing every time. I just couldn't believe I was doing this. I'm like, this is so cool. And it was just so perfect. Now, when you put the quilt together, you can see, here's our blocks right here. This is how they go in the blocks. So we've got 4 across by 5 down. That's how they go. Now, toward the end of my roll, because I wasn't paying attention in the beginning, I started to run out of strips that were big enough, and because I was trying to squeeze it all out of this one roll. So I have a couple of blocks down here. I want to point them out to you. Like right here, right, this one right here. See how every side is a different color? Even if you do that, it works. You don't notice it. It doesn't like pop out and go, hey, you made a boo-boo. You know, it's none of that, none of that. And so it just goes together really well. Now I want you to look at this one over here. So this, I just took scraps of 30s. and put this together because I wanted to make a pineapple block that looked old. And so here's all these scraps of 30s, and isn't it just adorable? This one is just 9 blocks, and so it makes a perfect little table topper or baby quilt size, and I just think it's adorable, and those are just 30 scraps because I wanted to make an old one. Now, there's something else I need to tell you. So this ruler makes this block, and I thought, all right, I can do this one and all, but the Creative Grids people, I almost lost their name. The Creative Grids people, guess what? They made a tiny ruler to make a tiny pineapple block. And I thought to myself, well, I can do this one surely, but I can't do a tiny. I don't love tiny. I'm not careful enough. I'm not perfect enough. Well, guess what? With this ruler, look at this one I made. So isn't this the cutest thing that you've ever seen? I mean, I can't even believe I did this. I love this tool. Made it so easy. Every round gets squared back up again, and it's perfect. Now, this little quilt right here with 20 little blocks, it makes a quilt that's 46 by 56. We used 3/4 of a yard of your background fabric to make this little 3-inch border out here. And then actually I think that's 3.5. It's 3 finished, 3.5 unfinished. And then we used 3/4 of a yard for our binding. The backing takes 3¼ yards, and you're just going to sew your pieces together with a horizontal seam to make your backing. And so it just makes a really fabulous quilt, so fun. And I just can't even tell you how excited I am to be able to recreate this antique block in these fun brights with this amazing tool. So thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the pineapple block from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.